The music was so loud Bethel felt it in her bones. She pushed through the door of Club Abyss, one of Seoul's hidden underground spots where nobody asked your name. The air was thick with smoke and the smell of alcohol. Bodies moved on the dance floor like they were trying to forget something. Bethel's red dress was new. She'd bought it yesterday right after seeing the photos. Her ex. Another woman. The text messages that followed weren't even apologies, just blame. You weren't enough. This is your fault. She came here to stop thinking. To disappear for a few hours. She ordered whiskey and let it burn down her throat. That's when she noticed him. He sat alone in the corner booth, and everyone avoided that side of the club. Like there was an invisible line nobody wanted to cross. The man looked expensive and broken at the same time. Big shoulders, long messy hair, a beard that hadn't been trimmed in months. His suit probably cost thousands, but he wore it like he'd slept in it. He held a drink in one hand. The other hand kept touching something under his shirt, maybe a necklace. His eyes were what got her attention. Dead. Completely empty. Normal people stayed away from him. Smart people. But Bethel's heart did something strange. It recognized him somehow. Like looking in a mirror and seeing your own damage reflected back. Maybe it was the alcohol. Maybe it was her own broken pieces calling to his. Maybe she was just tired of being careful. She stood up. Walked over. Sat down across from him without asking. He smelled like expensive cologne and sadness. Bethel leaned forward and said the first thing that came to mind. You look like someone who forgot how to breathe. He looked up slowly. His dark eyes met hers and something shifted. Just for a second. Surprise, maybe. Or recognition. Like he'd been underwater for years and just broke the surface. His voice came out rough, like he didn't use it much. Maybe I did. The air between them felt electric. He hadn't felt seen in 3 years. She hadn't felt brave in months. Neither of them knew this moment would change everything. But what happened between them that night? Drop a like right now and tell me in the comments where you're watching from, because what comes next, nobody in Seoul saw coming. And by the end of this story, you'll know why some people say love is worth the risk. They talked for hours. Not the usual first meeting small talk. Real conversation. The kind where you tell the truth because somehow lying feels impossible. I'm Bethel, she said when he asked. Bethel Adeyemi. It's Hebrew. Means house of God. My parents had high hopes. She laughed, but it sounded sad. God must be laughing at me now. She told him everything. About moving to Seoul 18 months ago with her design portfolio and big dreams. About her ex-boyfriend Kwame, who seemed perfect until he wasn't. Until she found the messages and photos. Evidence he'd been cheating for months. He blamed me, Bethel said quietly, staring at her empty glass. Said I focused too much on work. That I was too American. Too black for his Korean friends. Her hands shook slightly. He made me feel invisible. Then blamed me for disappearing. She looked up at Dae-Hoon. I'm scared I'll never be enough for anyone. Dae-Hoon listened like every word mattered. His jaw got tight when she mentioned Kwame. Something angry flashed in his eyes before he pushed it down. Then he started talking. My wife died 3 years ago. His voice was rough. She got sick. One day she was fine. 2 weeks later, she was gone. He touched the chain around his neck, a wedding ring hanging there. I wasn't home enough. Too busy working, making money, building my business. His hand closed into a fist. She called me the night before she died. Asked me to come home early. I said I had a meeting. He looked away. I break everything. It's what I'm good at. His fear came out quietly. What if I can't be gentle anymore? What if that part of me died with her? Bethel reached across the table and put her hand on his fist. His skin was warm. She could feel old scars. You're still breathing, she said. That counts for something. Something in his chest loosened. They kept talking. Bethel started humming without realizing it, a nervous habit, when he asked about her design work. He almost smiled at the sound. She learned he grew up poor, built his success from nothing, and carried guilt everywhere he went. When the club closed at 4 a.m., neither wanted to leave. Come with me, Dae-Hoon said. Not demanding. Asking. Please. Bethel knew she should say no. Should be smart and careful. She took his hand instead. His apartment was beautiful and empty. Expensive furniture that nobody ever sat on. Floor-to-ceiling windows showing all of Seoul lit up below. But when he touched her in the bedroom, there was nothing empty about it. He was gentle. That surprised her. His hands shook a little when he touched her face, like he'd forgotten how to do this without hurting someone. Bethel guided his hands, here, like this, and watched his eyes come alive again. They moved together slowly. Careful. Tender. Like two people remembering what it felt like to be human. When he kissed her neck, she hummed that nervous melody, and she felt him smile against her skin. Probably the first real smile in years. When her fingers found the scars on his back, old knife wounds, maybe he tensed but didn't pull away. Stay, he whispered after, both of them tangled in his sheets. Until morning. Please. She stayed. Bethel fell asleep listening to his heartbeat. Steady and real. He watched her sleep like she might disappear if he looked away. This woman who walked into his darkness and made it lighter somehow. Her braids spread across his pillow. Her hand rested on his chest. For the first time in 3 years, he didn't have nightmares. Morning came too soon. Madame Seo entered with tea, quiet and efficient like always. She'd worked for Dae-Hoon's family for decades. She stopped in the doorway and stared at Bethel sleeping there. At Dae-Hoon's arm wrapped around her. Good morning, sir, Madame Seo said. Her smile looked perfect and polite. But her eyes looked cold. Should I make breakfast for two? Something about her voice felt wrong. Dae-Hoon noticed it for a second, a strange tone he couldn't quite place. But then Bethel stirred, humming softly in her sleep, and he forgot about it. He nodded at Madame Seo and looked back at Bethel. That was his first mistake. Because Madame Seo stood in that doorway a moment longer than necessary. Her hand gripped the tea tray so hard her knuckles turned white. She looked at Bethel like she was an insect that needed to be removed. Then she smiled again and left quietly. The game had begun. Dae-Hoon woke up to cold sheets. His hand reached across the bed before his eyes opened. Empty. The space where Bethel had been was still warm, but she was gone. He sat up fast, heart pounding in a way it hadn't in years. Bethel? No answer. Just silence in the big empty apartment. He threw off the covers and walked through the penthouse, checking every room. The bathroom. The kitchen. The balcony. Nothing. Her red dress was gone from the floor. Her shoes weren't by the door. It was like she'd never been there at all. Except her scent was still on his pillow. Coconut oil and something sweet. His chest felt tight. Wrong. Like someone had reached in and taken something. Bethel. He called louder this time, panic rising in his throat. The door opened. Madame Seo came in with her usual morning tray of tea. Sir? Is everything all right? Her voice was calm and concerned. I heard you calling. The woman Bethel, did you see her leave? Madame Seo's eyes widened slightly. The guest? No, sir. I arrived just now. She paused, looking around carefully. Should I check if anything is missing? Your wallet, perhaps? Your watch. Dae-Hoon's stomach dropped. She wouldn't. Of course not, sir. Madame Seo's smile was gentle. Understanding. I'm sure she simply had somewhere to be. Young women are unpredictable. But the seed was planted. That tiny doubt. Dae-Hoon checked his wallet. His watch. Everything was there. But Bethel was gone. No note. No phone number. He didn't even know her last name. Had she said it? He couldn't remember. For the first time in 3 years, Kang Dae-Hoon wanted something. He wanted her. The search started that afternoon. Dae-Hoon pulled security footage from the building. There, 4:47 a.m. Bethel leaving through the lobby, pulling her coat tight, looking back once at the elevator before disappearing into the Seoul morning. He called the club. Spoke to the owner personally. A woman. Nigerian, maybe. Late 20s. Braids. Red dress. Many women come through. Dae-Hoon SSI. You know this. Find her. He put his entire network on it. People who owed him favors. People who feared him. His driver. His security team. Minjun, his most trusted associate. You're serious about this? Minjun asked, surprised. He'd never seen his boss care about anything since the funeral. Find her. Days passed. Then a week. Then 2. Dae-Hoon barely slept. He reviewed footage from clubs, restaurants, subway stations. He had people check design studios, art galleries, every place a creative woman might work. Nothing. Seoul had swallowed her whole. By week 3, Dae-Hoon looked different. He'd shaved, cut his hair, put on his expensive suits again. Not because he wanted to, because he needed his armor back. Needed to be the man who got what he wanted. On day 22, his driver called. Found her. The cafe was small and bright, attached to a design studio in Itaewon. Through the window, Dae-Hoon could see her. Bethel, wearing a simple black apron, making coffee, laughing at something a customer said. She looked beautiful. Happy. Like that night had never happened. His heart did something painful. Dae-Hoon took a breath and walked inside. The bell above the door chimed. Bethel looked up from the espresso machine and froze. All the color drained from her face. Hi, Dae-Hoon said quietly. For a long moment, she just stared. Then her expression shifted. Shock became something else. Fear, maybe. And underneath that, disappointment. You look better, she said finally. Her voice was flat. He touched his clean-shaven jaw, confused. Thank you. That's not a compliment. Bethel set down the cup she was holding. What are you doing here? I've been looking for you. For 3 weeks. Why? The question hit him like a punch. Because I woke up and you were gone. Because I wanted to see you again. So you found me. Her eyes were hard now. Guarded. How? Let me guess. Security cameras? Your connections? Your money? Bethel. That's not my name to you. She crossed her arms. We had one night. That's all it was supposed to be. It didn't feel like nothing. It was. But her voice shook slightly. You should leave. I can't. You can. You're choosing not to. Bethel looked at him, really looked, and he saw it then. The disappointment in her eyes. I liked you better before. Before. When you were broken. When you were real. She gestured at his expensive suit, his styled hair, his polished appearance. This? This is the man everyone's afraid of. The one everyone talks about in whispers. Her voice dropped. I didn't sleep with him. I slept with the lonely man in the corner who forgot how to breathe. The words cut deeper than any knife. That night, Bethel continued quietly, I chose you. The real you. Not whatever this is. Dae-Hoon stood there, speechless. For 3 years, he'd been the untouchable Kang Dae-Hoon. Powerful. Feared. In control. Women wanted him for his money, his status, his name. Bethel wanted the broken parts he'd spent years hiding. Please leave, she said again. Don't come back. She turned away, back to her coffee machine. Dismissing him. Dae-Hoon left. But as he sat in his car outside, watching her through the window, something settled in his chest. Determination. She wanted the real him? Fine. He'd give her that. But he wouldn't give up. For the first time since his wife died, Kang Dae-Hoon had something to fight for. The flowers arrived the next morning. 100 white roses. Bethel sent them back with a note. Too much. The next day, orchids. Rare and expensive. She returned those too. Still too much. On day 3, Bethel arrived at work to find a sold sign on the building. Her boss called everyone into a meeting. We have a new landlord. Apparently he's very interested in supporting the arts. Bethel knew. She packed her desk that afternoon. Dae-Hoon was drinking coffee across the street when she walked out, carrying a box of her things. Their eyes met through the cafe window. She shook her head, disappointed but not surprised, and left. He'd bought the building to get close to her. She quit to get away. Week 2 of pursuit, Bethel got a new job at a gallery in Gangnam. Dae-Hoon showed up on her first day, pretending to be interested in the art. She poured her coffee on his $1,000 suit. Oops, she said, not sorry at all. He didn't get angry. He almost smiled. Fair. Week 3, he waited outside her apartment in the rain. For hours. Bethel saw him from her window, soaking wet, refusing to leave. She didn't let him in. Eventually, Minjun came and dragged him away. You're going to get sick, Minjun said in the car. And she's going to get a restraining order. She will not. How do you know? Because if she really wanted me gone, she would have called the police by now. Dae-Hoon stared out at the rain. She's testing me. He was right. The breaking point came on a Tuesday. Dae-Hoon showed up at the gallery again. But this time, he looked different. Tired. Less polished. The expensive suit was gone, just simple clothes. Dark circles under his eyes. Tea, he said simply. Not dinner. Not a date. Just tea and talking. Please. Bethel stared at him. At the exhaustion in his face. The genuine request in his voice. 1 hour, she said finally. That's it. They went to a pojangmaka, a small street food tent that smelled like grilled meat and kimchi. Nothing fancy. Just plastic stools and cheap soju. Why here? Bethel asked. You said you wanted real. Dae-Hoon poured them both tea from a metal kettle. This is where I grew up. We were so poor. Places like this were special occasions. He told her stories. Real ones. About stealing bread as a kid. About his first fight, his first business deal, his first real suit. About building everything from nothing. I thought money would fix the emptiness, he said quietly. It just made it echo louder. Bethel listened. And slowly, carefully, she started sharing too. About feeling invisible in Seoul. About Kwame's betrayal still hurting. About her fear that she was just a replacement, a way for Dae-Hoon to feel something again. You're not a replacement, he said firmly. You're the first person in 3 years who made me want to feel. He walked her home. Didn't ask to come up. Just said, tomorrow? Same place. She nodded. It became their routine. Small dates. Street food. Long walks. Deep conversations. He told her about his wife's death, the guilt he carried. She told him about her dreams, her fears, her design work. The physical tension built slowly. Accidental touches when passing food. His hand on her back crossing the street. Her fingers brushing his when reaching for the same cup. Almost kisses interrupted by passing cars, ringing phones, their own fear. But someone was watching. Madame Seo started her work carefully. Sir, may I say the young woman, Bethel? She reminds me so much of your late wife. The same smile. The same laugh. Innocent observation. Poisonous seed. Dae-Hoon frowned. They're nothing alike. Of course not, sir. I just meant, well, grief makes us see what we need to see. She left photos of his late wife in places Bethel visited. On the table at the penthouse. In the car. Small reminders of the dead woman. To Bethel, she was sweet. He talks about you often. He also asked many questions about your family, your work visa status. Lies. Careful ones. Bethel's friend Chioma warned her over drinks. Girl, do you know who this man is? Kang Dae-Hoon isn't just rich. He's dangerous. He's not. He's connected to things. Bad things. My cousin works in the prosecutor's office. They have files. But Bethel was already falling. Then came the night that changed everything. They were leaving a restaurant when a car pulled up. Men with guns. A rival faction making a move. Dae-Hoon pushed Bethel behind him as Min-Jun appeared from nowhere. It happened fast. Violence Bethel had only seen in movies. Dae-Hoon moved like water, efficient, brutal, necessary. When it ended, his hands were covered in blood. He turned to her, expecting fear. Expecting her to run. Instead, Bethel took his bloody hands in hers. Let's get you cleaned up, she said quietly. I'm not fragile. Back at his place, she cleaned his wounds. Wiped the blood away. Kissed his scarred knuckles. I see you, she whispered. All of you. And I'm still here. This time, when they came together, it wasn't gentle. It was desperate. Passionate. Equal. Two people choosing each other completely. The gallery was packed. Bethel stood in the center of her exhibition, surrounded by her furniture designs turned into art installations. Chairs that looked like sculptures. Tables that told stories. 3 years of work displayed under perfect lighting. Her dream. Finally real. You did this, Chioma whispered, squeezing her hand. You actually did this. Bethel couldn't stop smiling. Seoul's design world was here. Critics. Buyers. People who mattered. And walking through the door right now, making every head turn. Dae-Hoon. He wore a black suit that fit perfectly. Hairstyled. Clean-shaven. But it was the way he looked at her that made the room disappear. Like she was the only thing worth seeing. The whispers started immediately. Is that Kang Dae-Hoon? With her. How old is he? 45? She's what, 27? And not even Korean. Does she know what he really does? Dae-Hoon heard every word. Bethel saw his jaw tighten. But he walked straight to her, ignoring everyone else. You look beautiful, he said quietly. You came. I'll always come. He took her hand in front of everyone. Show me your work. They walked through the gallery together. His hand never left the small of her back. When a critic made a comment about urban design influences code for something racist, Dae-Hoon's voice went cold. Her work speaks for itself. If you can't see the brilliance, that's your limitation, not hers. The critic went pale and walked away. A wealthy woman in diamonds approached, speaking Korean rapidly. Bethel caught enough to understand, something about Dae-Hoon embarrassing himself, about appropriate partners, about his late wife being such a proper woman. Dae-Hoon responded in Korean, his voice sharp enough to cut. Then he switched to English, looking at Bethel. I told her I'm not hiding anymore. Not you. Not us. If she has a problem, she can leave. The woman's face went red. She left. Bethel's heart was pounding. You didn't have to. Yes, I did. He turned to face her fully, right there in the middle of the gallery with everyone watching. I spent 3 years hiding from life. From feeling anything. You brought me back. I'm not ashamed of that. I'm not ashamed of you. I'm proud. Tears filled Bethel's eyes. I love you, he said. Clear. Certain. Public. I love you, Bethel Adeyemi. She didn't care about the stares anymore. Didn't care about the scandal. She grabbed his face and kissed him. The room erupted in gasps and whispers. Phones came out. Photos were taken. By tomorrow, all of Seoul would know. Bethel didn't care. They barely made it through the rest of the exhibition. Back at the penthouse, Dae-Hoon pulled her close the moment the door closed. Stay, he said. Not just tonight. Stay with me. Dae-Hoon. I mean it. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a key. Move in. Make this place a home. Make me a home. Bethel took the key with shaking hands. Then Dae-Hoon did something that made her cry. He reached under his shirt and pulled off the chain. His wedding ring. He'd worn it every day for 3 years. He walked to the bedroom, opened a drawer, and placed it carefully inside. She'll always be part of my past, he said quietly. But you're my present. My future. I need to let go. Bethel kissed him. Soft at first, then desperate. They moved to the bedroom, pulling off clothes between kisses. This time felt different. Permanent. Like a promise. When they came together, it was slow and deep and full of everything they couldn't say out loud. His hands mapped every inch of her skin like he was memorizing her. She whispered his name like a prayer. After, tangled in sheets, Dae-Hoon traced patterns on her shoulder. Marry me, he said. Bethel laughed. We've known each other 3 months. I don't care. Marry me anyway. Ask me again in 6 months. I'll ask you every day until you say yes. Morning came with sunlight and the smell of coffee. Bethel woke up alone but heard sounds from the kitchen. She pulled on his shirt and patted out, smiling. Dae-Hoon was attempting to make breakfast badly, and she loved him for it. I'm better at ordering food, he admitted. I noticed. She kissed his cheek. Where's the coffee? Cabinet above the fridge. Bethel opened cabinets, searching. Found dishes. Found glasses. Found a stack of old photos that fell out when she reached too high. She picked them up. Family photos. Dae-Hoon as a young man. His wedding day. His wife, beautiful and smiling. And in the background of almost every photo, Madame Seo. Young Madame Seo. Standing behind the family. Always watching. In wedding photos. Birthday photos. Holiday photos. Always there. Always in the background. How long has Madame Seo worked for you? Bethel asked slowly. Dae-Hoon looked over. Since before I was married. She worked for my mother first. Why? She was at your wedding. Yes. She's family, basically. Been with us for decades. Bethel stared at a photo. Young Madame Seo, maybe 25, standing behind teenage Dae-Hoon. The way she looked at him. Do you think she resents me being here? Dae-Hoon laughed. Seo? No. She's happy I'm happy. She said so yesterday. But Bethel couldn't shake the feeling. That look in the photos. That cold smile Madame Seo gave her every morning. Maybe I'm being paranoid, Bethel said. You're not paranoid. You're perfect. He pulled her close. Seo's been taking care of me since I was a kid. She's probably just protective. Give her time. Bethel nodded. Tried to believe it. Outside the bedroom door, Madame Seo stood perfectly still. She'd heard everything. The proposal. The laughter. The plans for a future that didn't include her. In her hand, the porcelain teacup she'd been holding cracked. Just a little. Pressure breaking what looked delicate. She looked down at her bleeding palm and smiled. Time, she whispered to herself. He thinks I need time. She'd waited 30 years. She could wait a little longer. Just long enough to make the foreign girl disappear. The first contract cancellation came 3 days later. Bethel stared at her email. A major client, someone who'd been excited about her work at the gallery, backing out. Due to unforeseen circumstances. Then another. Then another. Within a week, 4 clients canceled. All with vague excuses. All suddenly. It doesn't make sense, Bethel told Chioma over the phone. They loved my designs. Maybe someone's talking, Chioma said carefully. You know how Seoul is. Conservative. You and Dae-Hoon are visible. The messages started that night. Unknown numbers. Blocked callers. All saying the same things. Go back to your country. Korean men aren't for black women. You're embarrassing him. Gold digger. Bethel deleted them. But they kept coming. Then the photo appeared online. Dae-Hoon having lunch with a beautiful Korean woman. Young. Professional. Smiling at him across the table. The caption, Kang Dae-Hoon with business associate Lee Ji-won. Is the foreign girlfriend already replaced? Bethel's hands shook looking at it. She knew it was probably nothing. A business meeting. But the timing right after the gallery, right after moving in together, felt wrong. Her visa paperwork got delayed. Processing issues, the immigration office said. Issues that never existed before. Everything was falling apart. Why didn't you tell me you were meeting with her? Bethel asked that night. Dae-Hoon looked confused. Meeting with who? Lee Ji-won. The photo online. That was a business lunch about shipping contracts. I have 100 meetings like that. He set down his drink. Why does this matter? Because everything's falling apart and you're having lunch with beautiful Korean women. Bethel, that's... My clients are leaving. I'm getting racist messages. My visa is stuck. And you're not doing anything. What do you want me to do? His voice rose. I can't control random people online. I can't force clients to stay. You could protect me. You have power, use it. I'm not going to threaten people into working with you. That's not. Maybe you're ashamed, Bethel said. The words came out sharp and cruel. Maybe everyone was right. Maybe you're too old for this. Too set in your ways. Too stuck living in your dead wife's shadow to actually fight for me. Silence dropped like a bomb. Dae-Hoon's face went cold. The warm man disappeared. The walls went back up. Get out, he said quietly. Dae-Hoon. I said get out. Bethel grabbed her coat. Pride wouldn't let her apologize. Hurt wouldn't let her stay. She left. 2 weeks of silence. Bethel moved back to her tiny apartment. Cried herself to sleep every night. Stared at the key he'd given her and wondered if she should return it. Chioma came over with wine and tissues. If you love him, fight for it, she said. Go to him. What if he doesn't want me anymore? Then at least you'll know. Dae-Hoon wasn't doing better. Minjun found him drinking at 2 p.m., unshaven again, hair growing messy. Going backwards. Call her, Minjun said. She called me old. Said I was stuck in the past. She was scared and angry. People say stupid things. She meant it. Madame Seo appeared with tea, gentle and concerned. Perhaps it's for the best, sir, she said softly. Foreign women, they don't understand our ways. Our culture. The pressure was too much for her. She poured his tea carefully. You deserve someone who fits your world. Dae-Hoon wanted to argue. But part of him wondered if Madame Seo was right. The message came on day 15. You left things here. Come collect them tomorrow. 2 p.m. Dae-Hoon will be out. It was from Madame Seo's number. Bethel's heart sank. So it was really over. He was having his maid handle the breakup. She went anyway. Madame Seo opened the door with a warm smile. Miss Adeyemi. Please come in. I've packed your things. But first tea. I don't want. Please. It's cold outside. Just 1 cup. Something felt wrong. But Bethel was tired. Heartbroken. She sat. Madame Seo served tea in delicate cups. Sat across from her with kind eyes. You must be confused, Madame Seo said gently. About why things fell apart. I know why. I ruined it. No, dear. Madame Seo's smile stayed perfect. I did. Bethel looked up. What? The cancelled contracts. The messages. The photo, I made sure the photographer was there. Your visa delay. Madame Seo's voice stayed sweet. Gentle. All me. The room started spinning slightly. Bethel tried to stand. Couldn't. The tea, she whispered. Nothing lethal. Just something to make you compliant. Sick enough to understand. Madame Seo leaned forward. I've loved him for 30 years. Since he was 19 and I was 25. I waited through his mother's demands. Through his wedding to that woman. Through her funeral. I waited. Bethel's phone. She needed her phone. Looking for this? Madame Seo held up Bethel's dead phone. Batteries die at the worst times. Why? Because you stole what's mine. Madame Seo's mask cracked. Real emotion showed through. Obsession, jealousy, rage. I earned him. Through decades of service. Of devotion. You knew him 3 months and thought you deserved him. Bethel slumped forward, dizzy and sick. You'll be fine by morning, Madame Seo said, standing. But you'll leave Seoul. Leave him. Or next time, the tea will be much stronger. She walked out, leaving Bethel alone. Sick. Scared. And finally understanding who the real enemy was. Bethel didn't know how long she'd been on the bathroom floor. Everything was spinning. Her stomach hurt. She'd crawled from the living room, trying to reach her phone, trying to find help. But the nausea was too strong. She heard the penthouse door open. Dae-Hoon, she called weakly. Please let it be him. Miss Adeyemi? Minjun's voice. He appeared in the bathroom doorway, his face going pale. What happened? Are you sick? He knelt beside her, checking her pulse. Madame Seo, Bethel whispered. The tea. She did everything. The contracts. The messages. She's been another wave of nausea hit. Minjun's expression went dark. He pulled out his phone immediately. Get home, he said the moment Dae-Hoon answered. Right now. It's Bethel. And it's Seo. Dae-Hoon broke every traffic law getting there. He burst through the door to find a doctor Minjun had called, checking Bethel's vital signs. She was pale, shaking, but conscious. She'll be fine, the doctor said. Whatever she ingested wasn't meant to kill. Just incapacitate. She needs rest and fluids. Dae-Hoon knelt beside the couch where they'd moved her. His hands shook as he touched her face. I'm sorry, he said. I'm so sorry. I should have seen. You couldn't have known, Bethel said weakly. I should have. His voice cracked. I should have protected you. The penthouse door opened again. Madame Seo walked in, carrying grocery bags. She stopped when she saw everyone. Saw Bethel on the couch. Saw the doctor. Saw Minjun's cold stare. She knew. Sir, I can explain. Explain what? Dae-Hoon stood slowly. His voice was quiet. Deadly. Explain how you poisoned her? Explain how you sabotaged her work? Her visa? How you sent those messages? Madame Seo's calm mask didn't crack. She set down the groceries carefully. I did it for you, she said simply. To protect you from making a mistake. A mistake. She doesn't belong in your world. She's too different. Too foreign. Too. Say it, Dae-Hoon stepped closer. Say what you really mean. Madame Seo's eyes hardened. I loved you first. I've loved you for 30 years. Since you were 19. I waited through your mother's demands. Through that marriage to a woman who never appreciated you. Through her death. I waited. Her voice rose. I earned my place beside you. This girl, she knew you 3 months and thinks she deserves what I worked decades for. The room went silent. You think that's love? Dae-Hoon's voice was ice. Poisoning her is love? Destroying her career is love? Making her feel unsafe is love? I was removing an obstacle. You were trying to own me. He cut her off. Love doesn't harm what it cherishes. Love doesn't manipulate. Love doesn't control. He moved to stand beside Bethel. You never loved me, Seo. You loved the idea of possessing me. There's a difference. Madame Seo's face finally cracked. Desperation showed through. I gave you my whole life. I never asked you to. You made that choice. Dae-Hoon's voice went flat. Final. You're done here. Pack your things. Leave tonight. Don't contact me. Don't contact her. You're gone. You can't. I can. And I am. He looked at Minjun. Make sure she leaves. If she contacts either of us, handle it legally. No. Madame Seo's composure shattered completely. You need me. I know everything about you. You've been fired. Dae-Hoon turned his back on her. Dismissal. Complete and absolute. Minjun took her arm. She fought, screaming. You'll regret this. She'll leave you. They always leave. You'll come back to me. No, Dae-Hoon said without turning around. I won't. They dragged her out. Her screaming faded down the hallway. Silence filled the penthouse. Bethel sat up slowly, still weak. I should probably go too. Dae-Hoon spun around. What? This is too much. Your world is too. I'm not strong enough for this. I'm just a girl who makes furniture. I can't handle enemies and poison and… Stop. Dae-Hoon crossed the room and dropped to his knees in front of her. Actually knelt. Please stop. Dae-Hoon. I don't need strong. I need you. He took her hands. I don't want you to fit my world. I want to build a new world with you. A better one. Tears filled Bethel's eyes. I was drowning in grief, he continued. For 3 years, I was underwater. You taught me how to breathe again. His voice broke. Don't leave me now that I finally remember how. I'm scared, she whispered. So am I. He pressed his forehead to her hands. I'm terrified. But I'd rather be scared with you than safe without you. Bethel pulled him up, kissed him hard. Then we do this together, she said. Everything. Together. Everything, he agreed. He stood and started moving through the penthouse. Took down the photo of his late wife from the mantel. The one from the hallway. Every picture. What are you doing? Bethel asked. Making space. He placed them carefully in a box. She'll always be part of my past. I won't erase her. But you're my present. My future. I need to let go. He came back to her, pulled her close. Marry me, he said again. You asked me 2 weeks ago. I'll ask every day until you say yes. Bethel laughed through her tears. Ask me at the charity gala next week. The gala? Yes. In front of everyone. If you really mean this, if we're really doing this, then we face them together. No more hiding. Dae-Hoon smiled. Really smiled. Together. The Seoul Grand Hotel ballroom glittered with wealth and power. Everyone important was there. Business leaders. Politicians. Old money families. The charity gala was the social event of the season. Bethel stood outside in her emerald dress, suddenly terrified. I can't do this, she said. Yes, you can. Dae-Hoon took her hand. He wore a classic black tuxedo. Hair perfect. But his eyes were only on her. We face them together or not at all. Your choice. Bethel took a deep breath. Squeezed his hand. Together. They walked in. The reaction was immediate. Conversations stopped mid-sentence. Heads turned. Whispers spread like fire. Is that Kang Dae-Hoon? With the black woman again? The age difference is embarrassing. Doesn't he know how this looks? An older woman in diamonds, Mrs. Yoon, Seoul's biggest gossip, spoke loudly enough for half the room to hear. Some men never learn dignity. Dae-Hoon stopped walking. Bethel felt him tense. Don't. It's not worth. He kissed her hand and walked toward the stage. What are you doing? She whispered. Ending this. He took the microphone from the shocked MC. Good evening. Dae-Hoon's voice filled the ballroom. Everyone went silent. I know I wasn't scheduled to speak, but I have something to say. Bethel's heart pounded. My name is Dae-Hoon. I'm 45 years old. My wife died 3 years ago. Many of you knew her. Many of you attended her funeral. He paused. For 3 years after, I was a ghost. I stopped living. I just existed. The room was completely still. 6 months ago, I met someone. Her name is Bethel Dae-Hoon. She's 27. She's Nigerian American. She designs furniture. And she's the reason I'm alive again. Bethel covered her mouth, tears already forming. I know what you all think. That I'm too old. That she's too different. Too foreign. That this is inappropriate or embarrassing or wrong. Dae-Hoon's voice grew stronger. I don't care. Gasps rippled through the crowd. I spent 3 years as a ghost. She made me human again. She saw me, really saw me, when I was broken and decided I was worth loving anyway. He looked directly at Bethel. That's worth more than your approval. Mrs. Yoon stood up. This is disgraceful. Then leave. Dae-Hoon's voice cut like a knife. If my happiness offends you, there's the door. This is my event. My charity. My money funding this room. If you can't be happy for me, you're not welcome here. Mrs. Yoon's face went red. She grabbed her purse and left. Several others followed. More stayed. I'm also announcing tonight that I'm restructuring my businesses. Stepping back from certain operations. Everyone knew what he meant. The underground connections. The gray areas. I want to be a man she's proud to love. That means changing. That means being better. He set down the microphone and walked off the stage, straight to Bethel. Your turn, he said quietly. What? You said we face them together. Bethel's hands shook. But she walked to the stage. Took the microphone. I'm Bethel, she said. Her voice trembled at first, then grew steady. I didn't come to Seoul looking for easy. I came looking for real. For honest. For something that mattered. She found Dae-Hoon in the crowd. This is the realest thing I've ever found. She walked off the stage. He met her halfway. They kissed in front of everyone. Not for show. Not for scandal. Just because they needed to. The room erupted. Some people clapped. Some whispered angrily. Some left. Bethel didn't care anymore. The attack came at midnight. The same rival faction from before. 3 men with guns, waiting in the parking garage. But Minjun and his team were ready. Did you really think we wouldn't expect this? Minjun said, his own team surrounding them. After you tried once already? The rivals found themselves outnumbered and trapped. Dae-Hoon walked up calmly, Bethel safely behind him with security. I have evidence, he said simply. Financial records. Witness statements. Everything about your operations. It's already with the prosecutor's office. You can leave Seoul tonight, or you can wait for the police. Your choice. The lead rival's face went pale. You wouldn't. I told you. I'm changing. But I'm not weak. Dae-Hoon's smile was cold. I'm just smarter now about how I fight. The rivals left. Running. Defeated. Dae-Hoon turned to Bethel. Are you okay? She laughed, half hysterical, half relieved. Your life is insane. I know. Still want to marry me? Ask me properly. Right there in the parking garage, with Minjun and security watching, Dae-Hoon got on one knee. Bethel Dae-Hoon. Will you marry me? She pulled him up and kissed him hard. Yes. Yes. 1,000 times yes. Above them, Seoul sparkled. Beautiful and dangerous in theirs. Together. 6 months later, Seoul looked different. Or maybe Bethel just saw it differently now. Her design studio had expanded. International clients from New York, London, Lagos, all wanting pieces from the woman who'd made headlines not just for her work, but for her love story. The studio took up 2 floors now. She'd hired 3 assistants. Her furniture appeared in magazines. Dae-Hoon had kept his promise. He'd restructured everything. Legitimate businesses only. Still powerful, money and influence didn't disappear, but clean. Legal. The kind of empire she could be proud of. The penthouse had changed too. Her colorful African textiles mixed with his clean minimalism. Her plants everywhere. His books. Her music. His quiet. It worked somehow. Like them. Small moments had become Bethel's favorite. Morning coffee where he'd learned to make it exactly how she liked it. Evenings cooking together, him following her instructions badly but trying. Her humming while she sketched designs, him watching from the doorway with that soft look he only gave her. "You're staring again," she'd say. "I'm allowed to stare at my wife." Wife. The words still made her smile. The wedding had been small. Just close friends. Minjun as best man. Shioma as maid of honor. Nothing fancy. Everything real. Now, on a quiet Tuesday evening, they stood on the penthouse balcony. Seoul spread out below them like scattered stars. Bethel wore his suit jacket over her dress. The spring air was cool. "Say it again," Dae-Hoon said in Korean. "Sarangi," Bethel repeated carefully. "I love you." "Better. Your accent is improving. You're a patient teacher." She leaned against his chest. "Can I ask you something?" "Anything." "Do you ever regret it? Choosing someone so different from what everyone expected?" Dae-Hoon was quiet for a moment. Then he turned her to face him. "I regret every day I lived before you made me live again," he said simply. "Every single day I spent as a ghost. That's what I regret." Bethel touched his face. His hair had more gray now. Stress, probably. Or just time. She loved every strand. "Everyone said you were too old for love," she whispered. He smiled. That real smile that transformed his whole face. They were right. The old me was too old. Too broken. Too dead inside. He pulled her closer. "You loved me into someone new. Someone who knows how to breathe. How to feel. How to live." She kissed him as Seoul lit up below them. Neon and streetlights and endless possibility. "I'm glad I dared," Bethel said. "So am I." They stood there, wrapped in each other, as the city moved around them. Two people who shouldn't have worked but did. Who shouldn't have survived but thrived. They still talk, of course. Seoul loves its gossip. They say a Korean mafia boss is too old for love. They say a black woman shouldn't have dared. They say it won't last. But when you find someone who reminds you you're human, when you find someone who makes you want to be better, age is just a number. Love is always on time. If this story touched your heart, hit that subscribe button and drop a like. Now tell me in the comments, what would you have done in Bethel's position? Stayed and fought, or walked away? Let's talk about it below.